quiz who said that. Anyway, today we are drinking a beer from Red Racer, from the Red Racer Brewing and Distilling, Central City Brewing and Distilling in BC. This was picked up here at the beer store. This is 5.6% alcohol. It says that it's a strong beer. 60 IBUs. This is Red Racer's India Style Red Ale. Bang. I've had a copper ale and everything else, but I've never had their India Style Red Ale. The only India Style Red Ale I can think of that I've had is Rickard's Red, their Red IPA. And I actually liked that. So I guess the question is, can a craft brewery do a red IPA that I like as well? Because for those of you that don't know me all that well, yes, I do make fun of a lot of the big guys. I'm not a huge fan of their tasteless bland lagers, but I do drink some of those tasteless bland lagers on occasion, mattering where I am and everything else. I'm not one of the guys that's like, oh, all you have is that, I'm not going to drink it all. There are beers that I would say, all you have is that, I'm not going to drink it all, but it's not the average domestic beer. If that's all I really have to choose from, I'll probably drink it, because I don't like doing hard liquor, because sometimes I can get a little stupid on hard liquor. So with beer I can control myself better, I can make sure I don't have a hangover the next morning, all that type of stuff. I have more self-control on beer, it seems. Probably because it hits my bloodstream a lot slower than alcohol. Alcohol, I'm like, boom, 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 rah! So, I mean, well, hard liquor. With beer, I keep doing it. I can start feeling it, but usually when you're drinking beer, you're sitting with your buddies and all that. When you're drinking shots and everything, you're partying, right? So I like doing the beer thing. Beautiful reddish color, reddish amber, perfectly see-through. Off-white mocha head. Actually, you know what? More off-white, like eggshell head. A little bit of a snap, crackle, pop. Visually, that's an appealing beer to me. That is an appealing beer to me. Now, where I was going was, it doesn't really matter who makes the beer. If I like the beer, I like the beer. I mean, I used to make fun of Trafalgar quite a bit. There's a lot of Trafalgar beers I really do enjoy. I used to make fun of, hey, there's my bottle brush. I make fun of Molson and Labatt and everybody else quite a bit, but there are a lot of beers from those companies that I really do like. And the fact that I'm having to sit here and fucking defend myself is kind of stupid. Let's just give the beer a sniff. Just like malt and caramel out of the glass. What do we get out of the can? Okay, out of the can, it has that like syrupy maltiness. That scent that I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. Yeah. A syrupy maltiness that I'm not a fan of, but we're going to drink the beer anyway. And we're going to enjoy the beer, we hope. Well, I hope. You might not hope. You might hope that I hate it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's try the beer. Cheers. Okay. So, today I drank 2 beers. I drank the Goose Island Rambler IPA about 45 minutes ago. And now I'm drinking the Central City Red Racer India Style Red Ale. And they're quite akin. This is a beer that reminds me a lot of an Ontario Pale Ale, as we call them. And Ontario Pale Ales, as you know, would be earthy, piney, malty, just basically a mixture of an American IPA and an English Pale Ale. And this kind of reminds me of that, a mix of those two. However, much like the Rambler IPA that I had earlier, this is much more piney, cedary, and woodsy than the regular Ontario Pale Ale. Now, I can get behind an Ontario Pale Ale and support an Ontario Pale Ale, even though I find there to be millions of them. Well, there's not millions, but there's probably about, I don't know, 40 variants that you can easily get in Ontario of that specific brand of beer, well, style of beer, which isn't really a recognized style other than here in Ontario. But this reminds me a lot of it. So, knowing that my marks take into account availability and pricing as well, is it as good as an Ontario Pale Ale? Taste-wise, I don't personally like it as much because there is more of that woodsy, piney flavors. And then money-wise, I don't think it's really worth me paying the extra money for a imported across Canada version of a beer I can get here. That being said, is it a bad beer? No, it's not a bad beer. It just doesn't really meet my tastes. Central City is hit or miss for me. I usually either love their beers or I don't fully care for their beers. There's not usually much in between, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I would really like a brewery to either be, yeah, I love this beer, or no, I don't love this beer. And I would love to have that instead of having all those breweries that, are in the middle and you don't know what to do with the brewery because the beers are meh or good or whatever you want them to be. This beer, it's a beer. It's a beer. And I mean, that's where I'm at. It's a beer. Out of 10? I don't know. I haven't even talked about the flavor yet, have I? So you get that sweet maltiness up at the forefront. And then it fades into that earthy, woodsy flavor. And that earthy, woodsy flavor keeps actually propagating on itself and getting heavier and heavier until the back of your throat is just left with a resiny, woodsy, piney finish. If you're big on the piney, woody type of hops, this might be a beer for you. For me, it doesn't have as much red to it, even as the Rickard's Red IPA. So I think the Rickard's Red IPA is a better version of a red IPA than this one, myself personally, because what I think of when I think of a red IPA is like an Irish red with some hops to it. And I'm not thinking an American red or anything like that, like an American amber. I'm thinking very malty with a nice English-esque finish. And this is malty, but it has more of like a old school American finish. It doesn't have those fruity hops or anything. It's those woodsy hops, and I mean, it's not even what I would expect from the West Coast. The West Coast usually comes out with all the Citra and everything else, like Washington State hops. This is weird because to me this is like an Eastern IPA, but red. Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't really care for it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Au revoir. I'll be on toast. See you soon. Red Racer, India Style Red Ale. Bye.